This might be the last video I make for this trip. I just left some of the guys. I was talking to an old friend. I didn't know he was an old friend. Some of the family from high school. But one of the street guys, I'll mention a few of the talks I had on this video. One of the street guys I see every year when I come back, he's having struggles. He's using drugs, you know, like a lot of my friends here are. But I see him, I talk to him. Not the ones you normally hear me mention. But then he sat inside Burger King with his brother. I didn't know their names, their last names. I don't ask the guys their last names. So anyway, he's in there with his brother, and the brother is doing well. But the other brother is one of the street guys. And we don't recognize each other from back in the days when we grew up here. Only if you know the last names, you know, oh, I knew you. So he sees me in there and talking. And his brother, who's on the street using. I said, I know your brother. He says, oh, you know my brother. I'm crossing here in the middle of all this traffic. And as we talked, I knew them. We went to school together. I won't give you the last name. And it was a family. He knew me. He knew my name. And I said, isn't that something? I said, I've been coming back. And he told me, you know, it's good that you're working with my brother and you're out on the street. And he saw me talking to all the guys, hanging out. And he said, it's good that you're coming back. And we had a good talk. And we knew each other, the family name I knew. One of his other brothers graduated, I think, in the year I graduated. Famous name from here. So that was interesting. I've been telling Nick for a few days, I'll mention Nick. I said, Nick, I want you to play. I'm only here for a few days. I want you to play Now, Nick likes the first video I ever made. It was Nick playing, I think it was Stone Temple Pilots. If you look on my little site, you go to the first video, it's him. So this time, when I see Nick, I said, I want you to play another song, you know, get the guitar. And so the last few days, he hasn't brought it. And so I seen him again today. I'm like, Nick, you know, I didn't want to push it. Although some of the guys initially taking videos and taking pictures, they don't forget, you know, normally they won't let people do stuff like that. And I thought, oh, maybe he don't want me to, even though I took Nick's picture the other day, I thought maybe he don't want me to videotape him, you know. But then the other guy, when I went back into Burger King, he said, Nick pawned his guitar and he can't get it out. The other guy said, I told Nick, I'll get it out for you if you want to play. So he didn't want to tell me he don't have his guitar, or else he'd be playing. And then one of the other guys who I see, I'll mention the other guy's name. His name is Ralph. He's not a real close friend, but they all know me now because they see me friends with Nick and Rick and the other ones. I haven't seen Billy. He's still alive. I didn't know if he died or went to jail. He's still alive, but everybody, Nick and them, said, no, he's around, but he's in very bad health. I'm going to come back tonight because I'd like to see Billy. He might not be alive for my next trip. And Billy considers me a good friend, even though he's been doing this stuff for many years. So he'll probably be dead. One of the other guys did die, I found out. Another guy by the name of John, who I knew. When I first saw Nick the other day, and he spotted me, John, and hey, I'm looking for you guys, Nick. First thing he told me was, you know who died? And I said, Billy. He said, no, another friend, John. His name was John. But I was talking to Ralph yesterday. And Ralph remembers me coming back. They all know I'm doing ministry. They all know this is Christian stuff. And Ralph said, oh, he's been seeking. And he's taught, all the guys have some history with God and Christianity, whether they were raised or family members. Ralph said, man, this last few months, John, this last 6 months or maybe a year, says I think he goes to some of the NA meetings. He's been telling me, but he said he needs more. He said, John, he says, it's really God. In the end, you can't put your trust. It's funny, I've been talking about that. I didn't dissuade him from anything. He said, but I was just thinking the last few days, maybe God will give me a sign or do something. And he said, and now that you're here, he wanted to talk, and I did talk to Ralph for a while. He said, this is the sign that you're up here. You just showed up. You're here doing ministry. This is God's time for me, John. I want to get clean and become a drug counselor. He said, the last few years, whatever I have left, I'd like my son, or I think his son, he said, see that his father did something. I said, I had some friends, Ralph, that used for many years. Said, and some of them got their counseling degrees while they were in prison. I said, and they got out, got clean, and are counselors. Some in Texas. So that was a good talk. And Ralph was happy that I was here. So it was a very short trip. I have some funny stories I could actually tell. I don't know if I'm going to walk this way. This is the area you see me walking on all the videos. So it was just interesting to see one of the guys that have been on the streets for the last few years, who I do know. I had no idea he was one of the guys I went to school with. And I don't think he knew either, because I don't really give out my last name. They just see me coming back. There's a verse that says, you will dwell in the land of your fathers. Scripture says, get out of the city and dwell in the fields, even in Babylon. And there I will be with you, and there I will deliver you from the hand of the enemy. You guys, I told some of the guys here, they're talking about Trump and all. Even these guys, I can't tell all the stories as some of the people I talk to that are into other things. I can't tell all that. But I know because they tell me. And they said, you went to Mexico? And because I said, yes, I went into Nuevo Laredo. And even though these guys were involved in everything you can be involved in, they're like, oh, the other guy said, man, that's dangerous. You get shot down. That's why I did that video on the whim. I did want people to see that it's not as bad. I mean, I wouldn't recommend everybody doing it, but it's not as bad as the political thing makes it look like. And some of these guys are doing stuff up here but they still think the same way. Like, oh, Mexico, you get shot. Look, stuff's happening right here. You guys are doing some things where people are killing each other at times in the streets of Texas as well. And this is a funny one. I'll tell a funny one. I can't tell all of the stories. My friend Rick, who you saw in the videos, Rick's a good friend. But one of the other guys, I won't mention his name, I know him, one of the straight guys, not old, but younger guy, but he's kind of like, critical of the guys on the streets. And whenever he sees me, hey, I'm looking for Nick, I'm like, oh, don't go by them, they're doing this, they're doing that. I said, well, I know, I'm here doing ministry. But I guess he smarted off to Rick one day. And Rick waited. He didn't threaten him, but he told him, when they came outside to the car, Ray, I heard the story. It's kind of funny, actually. So he just set him straight. You ain't going to be talking like that to me anymore. So that other guy, he's a wannabe, it's like a volunteer firefighter. He has all the cop stuff on his vehicle. He's got cop things. He was never a cop. He was like a security guard. But he joined like a fraternal order of police where you support the police, which is fine. But he has all the badges, he bought things, and he tells people he's a retired cop, and he's not. If he watches the videos, I don't care. I won't give his name. So he's sort of like that, you know. His vehicle's got all the lights, the red lights, the flashing lights on it. I'm crossing the street, people are stopping. They don't stop for you here in New Jersey. Hello, you're on video. I got your license. And so Rick kind of set him straight. Now this is funny. I had to tell this part. You know Rick, he gave his last name, but as like a joke, you call him Ricky Ricardo. Now, I've just been coming here for a few years, and I realized his name is not Ricky Ricardo. You know, that's those of you younger generation. Ricky Ricardo was the name of Lucy's husband on the comedy, the Lucille Ball Show, or whatever it was called. So she played, it's an old comedy, you know, Lucy and Ricky Ricardo played the bongo drums at the Copacabana, you know, silly old show. So we called Rick, you know, Ricky Ricardo, hey Ricky Ricardo, as a joke, you know, not serious. And this other guy's known Rick for years, but he called the cops on Rick. And because Nick told Rick, hey, your buddy, you know, he had his friends up here, he called the cops. And Rick said, the cops, he reported my friend Rick as, what's his name? Ricky Ricardo. Well, I guess he didn't know it was a joke. This is his name. I said, oh, they came in looking for Ricky Ricardo. They should have known right away. Like they're looking for some guy with playing bongos or what? It was real funny because the guy that called the cops on Rick, you know, was serious. He's like, this person threatened me. And the cops were at White Castle actually looking for Ricky Ricardo. That's funny. So, a few things that I could share that would be okay to share. I didn't see Billy, but I heard he's in very bad shape. But he's still alive. So I might go back tonight. I think I'm going to take my kids to if they want to go up to the George Washington Bridge, we can park and they can walk on the bridge. I usually walk over and walk back into New York City. So today's my last day. I had some good talks. Even the one brother who I knew the family, and they knew my name when I mentioned it, he was grateful. He said, thank you for helping my brother who's on the street. They need people like you, John. And Ralph also was grateful. He told me he felt it was a sign from God that I had showed up just at this time. It could be, but most of all, people want to see other people that are not on the street, not using, which I'm not, and it helps them to have some hope. I'm going to just do this as a short video. This might be the last one. It's my old neighborhood. I do like walking down there, which is by the cemetery. It's pretty over there. We used to hang out here as kids. For my old friends, grew up in North Bergen. You'll see the old streets, you know, if you watch these videos. I'm coming right to 91st Street. I went to Our Lady of Fatima Church at 8 o'clock this morning. I tried to keep and I stay out. After that, I walk around and see the guys. I tried to keep the little pamphlet they give you from the Mass, and it fell out. It's all right. In my pocket when I was walking. The trip was okay. It was good. We're going to get ready to fly. In the morning, we fly out. This is the old street, 91st Street. My kids, I told them, this is what it's like, you know, driving here. It's different. It's the old area. People think I'm videotaping. Like Ernie, I'm a cop. Oh, I gave the name. Fake it. Ernie fakes it. He's not a cop. Volunteer type guy. Ricky Ricardo. Man, I was laughing. Alright. If I do another video, I just wanted to at least share those few stories that in some way, you know, some of the people were grateful. And that's why Nick hasn't brought the guitar. He likes me. He does enjoy playing. I tell him, I'm going to upload the videos, Nick. People see them. The other guy said sometimes we waste a lot of the talent, a lot of the gifts that people have. Sometimes it's wasted on addiction. It's always wasted on addiction. If you're, you know, wasting your life, whether it's drugs, alcohol, or even the stuff I talk about, which, according to Scripture, is also a sin. A lot of the Psalms, you know, one of the Psalms in the reading, I remember, I'll look at the little Mass thing before I leave the Mass, and I remember the verses. It was some from Jeremiah, Mark, the reading for today. They put a reading for today on the Mass thing, but one was Psalms 23, and I did that the other week. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.